Hi there, welcome to the Accidental Pop Star here on YouTube. My name is Ali Beg. If you are watching this channel for the very first time, thank you for dipping in. What I do with this channel is I speak to pop stars, both past and present. So you're probably wondering what gives me the right to navigate my way into this position to talk to such people. Well, believe it or not, and as you can see from behind me, I was once a member of a 1990s boy band. We were called Bad Boys Inc. We had a number of hits in the UK as well as abroad, but as quickly as we appeared, we just kind of disappeared as well. The ride was, well, it was incredible, if I'm being honest. It was completely and utterly surreal. But it was also quite strange, and it was very difficult to sort of get on with life afterwards. So what I'm doing is I'm just kind of having an informal chat with folk. I just interview them. It's almost like a question and answer session, and just see if our stories align or if the DNA fits, if you like. So for this episode, I really am thrilled to welcome a girl who I think is a fabulous talent from one of the UK's most popular girl bands, the Honeyz, Celena Cherry. Celena went through an incredible ride, as did all the girls from the Honeyz when they first appeared in the late 90s. They did incredibly well. They had huge success, not just in the UK, but abroad as well, and very, very nearly broke America, which Celena and I discussed during the chat. I really hope you enjoy it. She's fantastic. Welcome to the Accidental Pop Star from the Honeyz, Celena Cherry. Hi, Celena. It's lovely to see you and lovely to meet you. Thank you so
You
much for
too.
coming on. Are you keeping fine?
I'm good. I'm good. I've had a hectic weekend, but I'm
Yes,
good.
so I saw.
Yeah. It was good though.
Well,
I'm not complaining.
good. Well, I'm absolutely thrilled that you're here and thank you for taking the time. Let's get straight into it. Can I start with the audition process? Can I take you back to those early days? Can you
Yeah.
tell me, did you have any expectations of what was needed in this audition?
Not really. I got a call from a friend of mine who I was in a girl band before being in the Honeys, and this guy had always been trying to mentor me for years. And I got a call from him, from a friend, saying basically he knew Dennis Inglesby, who was First Avenue's, main man at the time, and will I go and audition for a girl band? And at the time, I'd been through a lot already under the age of 18 with girl bands, and it was a no-no for me. But he came and dragged me to First Avenue at like 11 o'clock at night for
Did
this
he?
audition. Yeah, really late at night. My parents were looking at me like, where are you going at this time of the night? And I went off, I sang, and the next day I was in rehearsals.
Oh, wow, that
Yeah,
quick.
yeah.
How
So it
old were
was a
you
bit
then,
of a
Selena?
whirlwind.
Okay. How
I'm
old?
thinking 17, 18 years old at
Right,
that
okay.
time. Yeah,
Yeah,
so quite young.
yeah, okay. Because originally, was it not meant just to be you and Heavenly? And did you know it was going to be a three-piece? That was the idea.
I didn't even know anything about it, who was in it. Heavenly was there already at
Ah,
rehearsals when I met the next day.
okay.
And they'd had so many different girls in and out of this group. I even meet girls from other groups, as time went on, who said, "Oh, we used to be, in the Honeys at one point, but it didn't last." Um, so yeah, I knew nothing about it, to be honest, until the next day when I turned up at rehearsals and Hev was there, basically.
Was there a record deal already in place, or did you
No,
have to wait for that?
no record deal. Our management company already looked after Eternal,
Yes.
so anything they did, at the time would have got a deal, really.
Yeah.
So they were thinking, we put the right formula together, and then, you know, here we go, kind of
Mm.
thing. So there was no deal at all.
Okay. So just to put this into context for people who are watching, so Selena and I were both signed to First Avenue Management. So First Avenue Management also looked after Bad Boys Inc., which we'll come on to a little bit later on. But obviously during that time, what was really interesting for me to sort of look on from afar, Selena, was that obviously we'd had all this influx of boy bands, including ourselves, and
Mm.
a lot of them were image driven and not so much vocal driven. But I think that started to come in towards the late 1990s and early 2000s. What was more important for you at that time, image or vocals?
For me, it was always vocals, and I wasn't used to this whole image thing or having to look a certain way.
Mm.
And I remember I didn't think I looked right at the time to be in the band. I turned up and heavily, had all these hair extensions down her back, and I had really short hair at the time. And she looked very girly, and I looked a bit tomboyish, and I thought, oh, I don't think I fit the role, But for me, the singing was always the most important part.
Did you convey that to the management company?
No,
No.
to be honest, at the time, I was scared.
Of
I
what?
didn't really know what was going on,
Yeah.
and I could feel there was an opportunity, and I didn't want to say anything because I didn't want to rock the boat. Does that make
Yes.
any sense to you?
100% it does.
So
Yeah.
whatever I was feeling didn't matter to me. It was just like, just go along with this and see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah. That completely resonates with me because the lads and I were exactly the same. It was the feeling was you've been given an
Yeah,
opportunity, don't say anything,
yeah,
do as you're told. But it
yeah.
very quickly became a feeling, well, I feel like I'm a puppet on a string now, and I'm not comfortable with this. Did you ever get to that stage?
100%. We even wrote a song called No, which was on our second album, um, about that. And by that time we'd had enough, and we felt like puppets on a
Mm,
string,
mm.
and I completely get what you're talking about, 100%.
I found it very intimidating in the early days because I was with people in an industry that I knew absolutely nothing about. I didn't overly trust them. Um, and I didn't really know how to navigate it. And I think because there's nobody there to guide you, I think that's
Yeah.
what I found really difficult.
We were too young,
Yeah,
we were kids.
yeah.
And at that time, it was a great opportunity. It was a great thing that we were involved with people who had made other people successful that we'd physically seen ourselves. So we were in the right place, but we didn't have the right guidance. We didn't have our parent. I know my parents knew nothing about the industry,
Yeah,
so they
yeah,
couldn't guide me. They couldn't
yeah.
say, well, that's wrong, this is wrong. I had a gut feeling things weren't as they should be, but I just felt like I was not in a position to say anything. Yeah.
In hindsight, I was 19 when I signed our record deal. So I was of a legal age where I could sign it myself on my own behalf. But obviously, if you're under 18, you
Yeah.
need a legal guardian or a parent to sign it. And I wish in hindsight that the parents of the four of us have got together and had discussed what was going on and maybe
Mm.
had sought independent legal advice to
Yeah.
make sure that what we were signing was going to look
Yeah.
after us.
Yeah.
But I understand what you're saying because my parents, they didn't have a clue. They wouldn't have the
No.
first clue
Yeah.
what to do or how to navigate it.
Yeah.
And I sometimes wonder if that was a little bit, and I mean this with the greatest respect, but I felt this was a little bit negligent on First Avenue's behalf. That I felt they should have been a little bit more go away and seek independent legal advice.
I think that's what they didn't want us to do.
Yeah, exactly. They wanted us to do the complete opposite, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah,
They had us doing exactly what they wanted us to do.
yeah.
So they would never have said, go away and seek independent advice because, in those days, these people had contracts that they needed us to sign so they
Mm,
could make a significant amount of money off the back of us, and us being so young didn't understand anything that was going on. I wish my parents got more involved. I
mm.
do, but I don't blame them,
Yeah, of course.
um, because they just didn't know anything about the industry at all. I'm more clued up. Like if my daughter was going to get into something like that now, I would be like, give me the contract, right? We're going here, we're going, but that's out of stuff that happened to me, unfortunately.
Yeah.
My parents didn't know, but I think First Avenue got us to sign exactly what they wanted us to sign, at the time,
Mm. Did,
unfortunately.
did you ever sort of speak to, like for example, did you speak to any of the girls from Eternal? Did you speak to Esther or Vernie and maybe Kelly and just sort of get advice from them?
We would see them, but there was kind of, I don't know if you felt like this with anybody else that you met in the office, but there was kind of nobody would talk about, what goes on with Dennis and Ollie. And it was kind of like everybody wanted to be the top person with them. Do you know what I mean? So
Yes.
we didn't really merge, and you wouldn't dare say anything. And I don't know where that came from because no one said to you, don't say anything. You just had a feeling within you that you didn't talk about these sort of things with the other acts, and that was it.
I'll tell you something that I only found out recently, which when I discovered this, I was absolutely mortified. So MN8, who also signed to First Avenue.
Yeah.
So I was catching up with details, and we were talking about their early days and how envious I was of them and their sound and what was being
Mm.
produced on their behalf, because I felt we should have had the same type of production.
Yeah.
And he was like, "You were really envious?" I said, "Mate, you've got no idea." And he said, "I'm so surprised." And I said, "Why do you say that?" And he said, "Because we always thought that you didn't like us." And I'm like, "What?" I says, "Where are you getting this narrative from?" He says, "We were always told if you were in the office, we had to wait round the corner for you guys to leave and then come in. We were not allowed to talk to you." And I'm like, "What?" So they kind of formed their own opinions about
Yeah.
us
Yeah.
without actually knowing that what
Yeah.
was being fed to them was a load of bullshit. Honestly, Celena, I was mortified when I found that out.
Yeah.
And it makes me so disappointed, even 30 years on, that the management was putting this narrative around other groups.
Yeah. I mean, hearing that doesn't surprise me. We didn't have anything like that. We weren't, we didn't have any kind of, oh, Eternal are there, you can't come in the office. I just think it was planned strategically that
Yeah,
everybody wasn't really there at the same time,
yeah,
with us.
yeah.
Um, but I get it. Like you saying that, I totally get it.
Mm. In the early days, what sort of ambitions did you have for the Honeys? Did you have any ambitions?
I wanted to make something of my life. I'd been to theatre school, and during the time I was at theatre school, I felt very singled out, earlier on in the early days, there was a lot of like, you can't audition for this because you're black. You know, we used to have people come into the school to do auditions, and the black kids used to have to sit in a separate room.
Oh, come
Yeah,
on.
because they couldn't
Really?
audition. Yeah. And things like that made me quite angry and determined to do something with myself. So from a young age, I signed to Walt Disney Records at 16
Yeah.
and had an okay time with that, but that didn't work out. Gave me a bit of a tainted view on the music industry, and that's why I
Mm.
was hesitant to go into Honeyz. But when I got into the band, I just thought I really want to give this my 100% all, you know, I really want to give it everything.
Mm. Again, in the early days, when eventually you did become a three-piece and then you had that first dynamic, how often did you spend rehearsing? How often did you guys work together on your harmonies and work on the dynamic of the band? Because I always felt the
Yeah.
dynamic of the band is really important.
All the time. It was every day with
Yeah.
us. From the time we met, we just didn't stop. We all had the same hunger and we all had the same want. And we were always practicing, always rehearsing, even if it was just dance routines.
Yeah.
We were just constantly going through the dance routines, every single day was something. We were that determined, to be the best that we can be. And Naima wasn't a dancer.
Mm.
She just learned along the
Mm.
way. She wasn't a dancer at all, and she just learned to dance.
Yeah, I
That's how
get
much
that.
she wanted to be in the band.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. Was that you, my dear?
Yeah, two left feet. You guys obviously you had instant success, which was
Yeah.
fantastic. how exciting a period in your life was that for you?
Um, I look back at it now and I think, God, I was scared.
Were
I
you?
was just, I wasn't ready for it.
Hmm.
I really wasn't. And the time that it happened, it hit me because I thought, oh my God, like I thought there was going to be a slow run up to this. A couple of singles didn't do too well, and then boom, but finally found, went in at number four, stayed in the top 10 for 10 weeks,
Yeah.
and that's amazing. And suddenly overnight, I was being recognized by everyone. I couldn't do or go places I was usually used to going and doing things that I'm usually used to doing without being recognized. Um, and at the same time, it was such an amazing moment, but it petrified me. And it's when I kind of started seeing the downfalls of the industry, should I say, you know, when the success comes in, you sort of start seeing things that you don't really want to see.
Yeah. Our producer, when he put us together, he said to me, "You need to prepare yourself because your life is going to change and you're going to become a famous pop star." And I couldn't quite comprehend that. I didn't have the levels of intelligence to be able to understand that
What that
level of
means. Yeah.
change in life. And I was like, okay, so are you going to help me? How are you going to help me navigate this? Because if I become famous, I don't know what to do. How should I act? How should I behave? Do I have to do something differently? There was no guidance. There's no handbook to becoming famous, is there? Um,
There
did you,
isn't.
yeah, in hindsight, again, do you wish you had been guided?
Yes. I wish I had been prepared
But,
and
sorry, Selena, by who? Who would you like to have prepared you for that?
the management,
Yeah,
and also probably talk to my parents because suddenly there was people knocking on my parents' door,
right.
yeah, and getting letters through the door and saying, we can see you in the garden. And, suddenly everyone's aware of their surroundings, aware of where they live. We're in a three-bed semi, you know, in West London. And it became a bit scary,
Hmm.
and you just get thrown into it and no one's really prepared for that kind of life. But maybe there isn't preparation. Maybe it is something that you just have to be experiencing to navigate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe there is no answer
You have to
to that
almost learn on
question.
the, you almost have to learn on the job.
Yeah, because maybe if someone told you, well, this is what's going to happen, you still wouldn't think in your head that that would really happen
Yeah.
until you're going through it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. How were your friends about it? Did you notice a change?
In some, yes, I lost some friends who became jealous,
Hmm.
and others, really supported me and still support me to this day, which is nice.
Yeah. It's hard when you lose friends, isn't it?
It is, but I always believe that people are in your life for a reason and a
Right.
season,
Right.
and that some people are not always meant to be there forever. They just got you through this moment, and then now you're on to something else.
Mm.
So it's cool.
How much of a shock was it when Abdi decided to leave? Is that how you pronounce her name correctly? Abdi?
Heavenly Abdi,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. How much of a shock was it when she left?
the biggest shock,
Really?
the absolute biggest shock. Yeah, we weren't expecting it and couldn't believe it at all. And it was disappointing because
Mm.
we were just about to become really huge and we just signed to Def Jam
Yeah, I
in
saw that.
America, the first British girl band to ever be signed to Def Jam in America.
Yeah, I saw that. And then
So we,
the contract stopped after that. Is that right?
yeah,
Oh,
we just signed a publishing deal. I can't speak today. Publishing deal with Polydor. Um, Life was about to be huge. I mean, I remember walking around in New York and just sort of walking past a newsstand and seeing my face on the front of a magazine, like a Black Hair and Beauty magazine.
oh, really?
Yeah, just me. And I thought, oh my God, wow, like this is amazing. I'm in America, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
And we did the most amazing video for Love of a Lifetime, worked with all the top people, top makeup artists, Billy Woodruff, top director, and it was about to just blow. And then we got back and she left. And
how do you adjust to that?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, Neymar and I, we soldiered through the whole thing.
Yeah,
And, we were there's no words for it. So disappointed. And we just had to get on with it. We knew we didn't want to stop because we were experiencing something so wonderful at the time. We didn't want it to end. We didn't want it to stop. So the only thing that we could do was find another girl and carry on.
yeah. And how was that adjustment period when you did find your next bandmate?
Hard. It
Yeah,
wasn't that easy,
yeah, I can
because
imagine.
I think Heavenly, Namer, and I had a really special chemistry, a really special formula. The three of us together, in my opinion, has been the best blend of honeys. But that's how we started, and we spent the most time together to getting to know each other. And we saw each other through the times we had no money to get on the train, to then becoming famous overnight. We went through something so important together, and that can't ever be changed or recreated. And then someone else coming into the situation, they don't know us that well. Do you know what I mean? They are trying to get involved in something that they don't fit in, basically.
Sure. It, it,
Um,
it must have been difficult for her, right?
yeah, I mean,
Big shoes to fill.
big shoes to fill. Um, but I think there was never a good relationship between her and Neymar,
Yeah,
and that was the problem. So that was difficult. It depends on people's personalities,
of
whether
course.
they clash or not, And I don't think it was the right mix,
Mm,
you know.
yeah.
As much
Okay.
as I loved her and we got on very well,
Yeah. Yeah.
it doesn't always mix with three.
Yeah. Okay, we'll sort of divulge a wee bit more on that a little bit later. But in the 90s, particularly the late 90s, there was such a huge influx of girl bands around at that time. Just thinking off the top of my head, Spice Girls, All Saints. How was your dynamic when you guys kind of all got together? Did you get together, on shows or on tour or anything like that?
In which stage? Sorry, in the beginning.
So yeah, so like as you girls progressed, and
Yeah,
then obviously you start to meet fellow bands, be it at
yeah,
award ceremonies or TV shows abroad, whatever it may be. How did you get on together?
good. Yeah, good. It was always easy, Those parts were always easy
Mm.
because you're just in your bubble, you know. Do you know what I mean by that?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Playing the part in your bubble,
Yeah,
it was good.
yeah.
I
I
got
must admit,
on
I
with other
always
people.
enjoyed meeting other
Yeah,
sort of members of boy bands because we were in the same boat and we kind of knew what we were going through
yeah. I mean,
together.
I've still got friends from those days
Do you?
of meeting up at, yeah, and I've still kept in close contact with a lot of people from girl bands and boy bands, you know, Lee Brennan and Lindsay from Bewitched. They're
Yeah.
godparents to my daughter.
Are they really?
Yeah,
I no way I didn't know that.
yeah.
Oh, that's so
So,
cool.
we're all close and I love that. I love that. And we've all had, especially doing the big reunion,
Yeah.
after doing that, we all realized how we had really similar experiences and we're all sort of a little family, really, who've had this 90s fame and we all just totally get each other, you
Mm.
know? Um, and so yeah, we always got on with everyone, really.
How was that big reunion experience for you? Because we had discussions about forming again.
Yeah,
It was absolutely not for me. There was no way I was going to do it.
yeah,
I completely understand and respect why others did. So,
yeah.
how was it for you? Was it completely different to what you'd been used to?
I found it really great.
Did you?
I did. I felt like there was a lot of stuff that was bothering me mentally, and I couldn't move on with my life in the way that I wanted to move on because there was something blocking,
Yeah.
and I needed to discuss with Heavenly what she did. I think it really affected me
Okay.
mentally and physically. I came out of the industry when I shouldn't have. I should have had a solo career, but
Correct.
I couldn't. I was mentally not right. For some
Mm.
reason, I didn't know what it was. Had kids and I still didn't feel complete. And when that big reunion situation came up, I thought to myself, I need to do this. I need to not be me.
Mm.
Does that make any sense? I
Yes.
need to let go of whatever it is I'm not letting go of, you know. Um, and so I found it really therapeutic,
Yeah. Yeah. I was just going to ask you that. How therapeutic was it?
very, very. I wish Naima had done it,
Yeah.
but she didn't want to. I understand that. She's got her own things that she's still trying to deal with. Um, but yeah, for me, it had to be done. I don't look back on it and think, oh, you shouldn't have done that. I'm really glad that I did it. Really glad.
With the power of hindsight, do you wish you had got involved a little bit more on the business side of the industry?
100%. 100%. I
Everybody
wouldn't be,
says that. Everybody says it,
yeah.
Celena.
I wouldn't be working as hard as I am now
Yeah.
to make money, to pay
Yeah.
bills and do what I have to do and look after my kids. If I had known more about the industry and what I was earning and what I need to, look out for. And, we sold a lot of records. We shouldn't have been in the position that we were in after all of that. Number one in Australia, seven top 10 hits in the UK, and, other countries all over. We shouldn't have been in the position we were in when the group ended at all.
How did the financial, you don't have to go into details, but how
Yeah.
did the financial side of the band work for you? Did you guys pay yourself a wage? Did you live off an advancement? How did it work?
We got an advance, but we got into a sticky situation because we were being, in the beginning, I don't know if this happened to you with First Avenue, sort of being totally taken care of, looked after, put up in a studio. Um, your accommodation, everything was, seemed paid for at the time. Eat what you want in the restaurant, do what you want. Um, and then when it came to the end of it, we had to pay for the whole thing.
Of course you did.
So our whole advance got eaten up because there was nothing left.
Yeah.
And we didn't know that. If I had known I was paying for my own food, I would have eaten less. If I had known that the studio was being paid for by us, I would have made sure we got, things done in a certain amount of time and didn't spend so much time there. If I'd have known that our accommodation we were paying for, I would have just gone home every night. I was 18.
Where were you staying?
So there was a studio that had accommodation there.
Okay.
So they put us up to record the album in that studio, but we weren't aware that we were paying for it.
And they didn't tell you, obviously.
No, you're 18 years old. You won't think. You're like, it's glamorous. Oh wow, we're staying in, and they had a restaurant in the studio upstairs, so we would eat there probably 3 times a day, all three of us. And then we got this bill at the end of it, and we were just like, okay, right, this is the industry. It's actually a business,
Yes.
you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. We we actually set up a limited company.
That's a good
Um,
idea.
yeah, the four of us set up a limited company. And I don't want to go into too many details, but there was a lot of negligence going on.
Yeah.
There was a lot of invoices put certain ways that should never have been put certain ways. Um, I kept a record of everything that we were earning from day
Mm.
one.
Well done to you.
Yeah. And we were paying ourselves a wage of
Mm.
£800 a month. That's all we were getting
Yeah.
was £800 a month. And my rent was 500 quid a month.
Yeah.
Um, we, I couldn't live. I was struggling to live. I couldn't afford to go to the supermarket. I had to, I tell you how ridiculous it was. I had to steal food from hotels.
Mm-mm.
I had to steal fruit.
Yeah. That's not good.
It's not good at all.
No.
And people don't see that side of the industry.
No, they don't.
And that's where I think
Listen,
the
look
duty
at
of,
TLC. They've
oh,
gone on to, big award ceremonies and said in front of the whole world, we ended up without a penny. When they did that, I thought, hats off to you girls, because there's so many of us that went through that and people don't see it, you know. And after it all, I went into ordinary jobs.
Mm.
I had to go and get a job,
So did I.
to earn money.
Yeah.
And it was embarrassing
Yeah.
because you get recognized.
Yeah. It's
So I'm
awful.
being an estate agent and turning up at people's houses, but they're like, Aren't you that girl?
Yeah.
And I like, oh God. And I thought I
Yeah.
can't keep doing this.
And
Then I became a carer, and I was a carer for about 2 years, looking after the elderly, going to their houses, giving them their pills and their food and stuff. I did that for 2 years, you know.
I,
Um, it's
I,
the struggle.
yeah, I got to the stage where I needed to get a job. I had a
Mm,
mortgage to pay. My bills were mounting. Um, all I saw was a black hole.
mm,
And eventually I thought to myself, right, I have no choice here. I have to go and get a job. I had no interest in being a celebrity or staying famous or anything like that. Couldn't care less. And I remember going to the Hatfield Galleria because
yeah,
I lived
I
in
know it
Hertfordshire
well.
at the time. Yeah. And walked into a well-known sports footwear shop and asked for a part-time role.
Mm.
And the lassie said to me, why do you want a job in here? When it, do you not have a new single coming out soon? I
Yeah,
just,
but I've got no money.
yeah, it's like, yeah, but I need a job. And I think, and I don't blame her. I don't
Yeah.
blame her at all because how would she know? She wouldn't have a clue. She just saw this dude walking in that used to be in a boy band and thinking, why do you
Mm.
want a job? I don't get it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
it's so
the thing is,
discouraged.
you shouldn't want a job. You
Mm,
should be able to have that career and leave that career with your pockets full.
yeah,
That's why you've done all that hard work.
yeah,
You should be able to not be going into a shop and asking for, a job to sell trainers.
yeah.
So people don't understand it because they're just like, well, I've got this job. You shouldn't. And I get that,
Where,
you know.
where I felt really angry and I felt really very bitter for many, many years is the fact that we did, like you guys, we worked so hard. We worked up to sometimes
Yeah,
18 hours a day, 7 days
yeah,
a week to
yeah.
try and make this bloody band a success, knowing that the music that was being produced on our half was what was killing us in the end.
Mm,
And then because of that hard work, when it came to us splitting up and going our separate ways, all I wanted was to be looked after for a number of months where I could just go, right, okay, now I can just take some time. I don't have to worry about paying my bills. And then I can reset and I can go again. But none of that was done. It was like you're thrown in the trash, tough, we're moving
yeah,
on to the next act.
yeah.
That was the thing that I was really angry about that.
Yeah, that hurt me a lot because at the end, I mean, it must have been the same for you. The
Yeah,
fax
it was.
machine went, remember fax machines? And then you get your itinerary coming through the fax machine every day telling you where you're going, what TV show you're doing,
Yep.
what road show you're doing, and that was my life. I lived through the fax machine telling me every day. And when they dropped us, they dropped us. So you heard nothing from anyone the next day.
So there
And that
was
was it.
so there was no indication that you were going to get dropped, no warning.
No, I had a dream, a premonition. And I remember being on the video shoot for Talk to the Hand, which was our last video shoot that we did.
Yes.
And I said to the girls, I think we're going to get dropped. I've got a feeling we're going to get dropped. And they said to me, how would you get a feeling they'd get dropped? We're recording a video right now. And I just had this, sometimes I get these strong feelings, and I just had this strong feeling. And I said, no, I think we're going to get dropped. And they were looking at me like I was crazy, because we're glamorous on a set, hair and makeup, doing this video. And literally the next day we got dropped. Song never came out.
Why do you think you got dropped? Do you have your own interpretation of it?
I think we weren't hitting the top 10 for the last two singles, which was not our fault. The songs that they released, we didn't want to release. And basically we were told tough, about those. So they released them and they did exactly what I thought they would do. Not as good as the other songs. Went in at like 20 something, which to, First Avenue and the record label was like, oh my God, it's 20 something. That's terrible,
Mm,
you know.
mm.
And I think that's just what it was. We didn't hit top 10 with the last two singles. And I think it was as bad as that. And they just thought, not putting any money into this anymore. And that's it.
What, how did you cope with that? What did you do the next day?
Um, I don't even remember what I did the next day, but I remember not coping very well with it at all.
Did you feel lost?
I felt completely lost. Never felt more lost in my whole life.
Mm,
Anxiety attacks started creeping in again. I thought I was over that. They came back. Didn't want to go out, didn't want to do anything. Depression, really low, um, and completely lost. Lost really was the word, you
and no,
know.
and nobody there to support.
Nobody,
Yeah,
no one, and
yeah.
not knowing what to do. What do you do next? Like what what do you do next? You
Mm.
know? And my parents just looking at me, heartbroken, not knowing what to do. And I equally didn't know what to do. It was one of the hardest moments of my whole life.
So what gave you the drive to get up, dust yourself down, and go again?
Um, I had to earn money. There were bills that one thing I did right was when I got some money in the group, I bought a house.
Mm,
Not outright, but I got a mortgage and I had to pay my mortgage. That
yeah,
was my roof.
yeah,
So that's what got me up. But I lost all my confidence. I lost all my confidence. So I'd be doing gigs and, for a lot less money and felt petrified, at that time and kind of lost my love for music and for the industry.
yeah. That's what I really feel for people that I call real artists, because this is hence the name of my channel, because I never wanted to be a pop star. I was like, how can I be a pop star? I don't sing, I don't
Mm.
dance, I have an image that suits a certain narrative. So plucked from obscurity, thrown in, and I could cope with that because I suffered from imposter syndrome, so I could get
Right.
away from it, and I felt okay with it. Um, but what I desperately felt sorry for were people like Matthew, who was our lead singer, who was and
Mm.
continues to be hugely successful, who's, in my opinion, a proper artist. And people
Yeah.
like yourselves, this is your career, this is what you want to do, this is your dream,
Yeah.
and I really, really feel for you, um, because it leaves you in a state where you're completely disillusioned, having had it, tasted it,
Mm.
and then have
Then
it
what do
kind
I
of
do?
just
Yeah.
snapped away from you, snatched away from you.
And
Um,
I loved singing. I loved music. I loved writing
yeah.
songs. And I went into the studio afterwards and I recorded an album, which is a brilliant album. I wish, I mean, I might even still release it one day,
Oh,
you know.
do absolutely do.
It was,
You get one shot at life, Celena.
I
Do
know.
it.
I worked with the producer for Franz Ferdinand,
How did you?
Toya Hansen, yeah. And I went to his house in Lewes, he lived near Brighton,
Yeah.
and we churned out one of the best albums I think ever. And, you know, I've kind of just kept it to myself
Oh no, come on.
this whole
Do it.
time. Yeah, I
Do
have.
it.
But it was my lack of confidence.
Yeah, I understand that.
It was my lack of confidence. And it was just a process that I had to go through.
Mm.
That's how I see it now.
Um, I hope you understand where I'm coming from with this question.
Yeah.
So a lot of people have said to me, have you had any regrets? In hindsight, do you think you'd done things differently? There would have been a few things I would have done differently, but one of the things I would have done, and again, I mean this with complete and utter respect, I would have sacked the management company. If I had been in a position to understand and how to do it, I would have wanted to have sacked the management company and come away from them. Um, but I didn't know how to. And I just felt an act like that would probably do us an awful lot more damage than good. So in the end, we decided to stick with it. but it was not the best decision for us. How do you feel about that?
I completely agree with you. And I wish that we had the confidence in ourselves to, at that time, say, you know what, girls, it doesn't matter that we've been dropped. We don't need that management company. Let's go and find another management company because we were in the best position then to do that,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
Um, for some reason, we were eaten away at so much over our time with the management company at that time. We felt like there was nobody else.
Mm.
Does that make any sense?
Yeah, yeah, of course.
For some reason, we felt like that was it. And what we should have done was said, right, we've been dropped. Great. New record label, new management company. Let's go.
Mm.
We've paved the way already. We're already out there. We've had the hits. We can have another hit again. Let's take control. But we didn't. We kind of went like that
Yeah,
and then didn't even talk to each other afterwards for ages.
yeah,
You know, um, Definitely would have done different. Now look back at it, same as you.
yeah. How do you now define success? Because the industry has changed so much.
It's barely recognizable now, isn't
Mm.
it? I
Don't have a
mean,
clue.
I don't have a clue. And when we were selling records, you had to walk to the shop, you had to go into Our Price or Woolworths and buy something. We sold 180,000 records in our first week for Finally Found, and that's people walking to the shop to
Yeah.
get it. Bring back those days. I
Oh,
love that. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Now people are clicking on their phones and stuff. It's so different now. Like I was judging a talent contest the other night, and a parent said to me, "How do I get my child into this industry?" And I couldn't answer that question because I don't know.
Mm.
How we kind of got into it back in the day was it's different to now, no?
Yeah.
It's completely different. I didn't know what to tell her, apart from just keep doing what you're doing. And I think sometimes well, for me, it was just right place at the right time when I got involved, but I wouldn't know how to navigate the industry in 2025. No way.
How proud are you of your success and what you guys achieved?
Very,
Mm.
very. I look back and I think, I have a 17-year-old now, and I get frustrated with her because I look at her and I think, well, when I was your age, I was doing this and I was doing get out of bed, you know. I was doing this at 17 and I was. I had a lot of ambition, and what I set my mind out to do, I did. And so I do look back at my younger self and think, well done. And I'm proud of what Honeyz did. And even
Yeah.
even up to today, I get people saying, "Oh, your song Finally Found was our wedding song." And
Oh,
every time someone says that to me, I get goosebumps all over me, because we wrote that song and it was the icebreaker for us. And I think if in life you can leave that kind of mark on the industry, then we did something right.
yeah. Oh, you guys were huge. You were absolutely fantastic. And you're absolutely right. You should be hugely proud of yourselves. What's next for you? What's going on?
Well, we still perform.
Yeah.
So we're still doing gigs, 27 years later. um, I have a soul show that I do and that I love doing on my own. And yeah, it's just, you know what? I've realized how much I love to sing and how much I love to perform. And that's where I need to be. I'm at my happiest, no matter what's happening in my life. I'm at my happiest on stage with a microphone. It almost makes me want to cry telling you this.
Don't cry. Don't
I'm
cry.
so sad, but that's my happy place.
Yeah.
So I'm glad and I'm blessed that all these years later I can still be in my happy place.
Yeah. Which is fantastic. And it's
Yeah.
absolute testament to you and your strength that you can be in this place now.
Yeah. Where it comes from, I don't know, and there's so much more that we can delve into with our lives, that we could talk about things that have happened, but I've got through them.
Mm.
and I'm proud of myself for where I am today, you know, and I'm just glad that I can do what I love,
Brilliant.
basically. Yeah.
Thank you for coming on. It's been absolutely fantastic having you here. I was delighted
Thanks
that
for
you came
having
on.
me.
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure. Honestly, an absolute pleasure. Take good care of yourself. I wish you every success going forward, and hopefully we'll speak again soon.
You too.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye bye. So there you have it. I really hope you enjoyed today's chat with Celena. And if you did,